In polling exclusively for Global News, 7 in 10 Canadians believe this summer will be a disappointment due to ongoing COVID-19 restrictions, but 61% still believe this summer will be better than the last one. Canadians are also hesitant about travel, with just 26% saying they would travel outside their own province this summer, and that number falls to 15% when asked if they would consider travel outside Canada. As for others coming here, only 25% of those surveyed believe now is a good time to open the border between the United States and Canada.
I mean, the reality is that in terms of Canada's vaccination journey, we're maybe a little over a quarter of the way there, right? With about 19 million people having only their first dose and very few having both doses. And so Canadians are realistic. In the sense that they're prepared for disappointment in the summer. It'll be a bit of a bummer. Now, there are some differences of opinion, most notably in Canada's most populous provinces. Those in Quebec, in fact, are most optimistic for the summer. Premier Legault has very strong approval ratings there, and Quebecers think that he's managed the pandemic quite well, and perhaps that approval is translating into optimism that things will be managed well over the summer, and Quebecers will be able to enjoy the nice weather. Contrast that with the province of Ontario, where Premier Ford's approval ratings are not nearly as strong. Where there are still significant hotbeds of COVID-19 in key urban areas. And all this shakes out to mean that Ontarians are among the most pessimistic across the country and believe that the summer, despite the nice weather, will be a bit of a letdown. I mean, younger Canadians are clearly the most eager to re-engage in normal life, in the economy, in travel. That said, the vast majority of Canadians are still quite cautious and hesitant. Only 1 in 4 would even consider traveling out of their own province this summer. Only 15% would even consider traveling internationally, and that's if the borders, are open and we're allowed to do so. So I think for the vast majority of Canadians, and even the vast majority of young people, they're heeding public health warnings and want to essentially stay home or stay out of crowds or other places where the transmission of COVID-19 is more likely. Even though we hate lockdowns, we generally support them. And that's reflected in these data. We've seen by and large that lockdowns have been highly correlated with a reduction in case counts in Canadian provinces. And the lockdown in Ontario, for example, has just been extended. Yes, there's discussion about whether we should be able to golf or not, but that's fairly minor details. In the grand scheme of things, Canadians are supportive of their leaders because their leaders have been taking, in many cases, difficult choices to lock down the economies, to tell people to stay home, and Canadians are heeding that advice. They're remaining cautious. They're remaining hesitant. And even though younger people are eager to re-engage, a majority of them are also saying, you know what, I'm prepared to sit on the sidelines for a little while longer, even though that may disappoint me this summer.